Hi everyone, my name is Sandra. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel. So today is a video about my fine liners. So I was going to do this differently. I was going to have a video on each type of fine liner that I had, but then I had problems with filming and I didn't want to just show you one video that was maybe 5 minutes, if that. So I added them all together and I want to show you all of the color selections I have and maybe talk about a little bit of a comparison between them. But this isn't necessarily a comparison video because most of these fine liners have been out for years, if not like many, many years. And basically, if you have these and you know you love them, you're not really going to want to try anything else. But this is just my take on it, my opinion, and these are the shades that I have. So what I'll be doing is talking about each of the fine liners that I have and the color selection and the price value and when I bought them and what I think about them. And then I will show you a swatch of what they actually look like. I'll just write out all the colors and then I'll also show you a picture of the pens themselves. I just really enjoyed doing this, and pictures will also be on Instagram if you follow me on there as well. I wanted to insert them here just so you guys could see what they look like, and we can just kind of talk about it and just sit down and have a chat. So the first pen that I would like to talk about are the Stabilo .88. And you will notice me looking down every now and then because I am kind of reading from my journal, from just kind of looking at it to get an idea of what I would like to say about each pen. So the Stabilo .88 are not the first fine liners I have ever purchased, and the only reason I purchased these is because I did watch a video by Amanda RachLee, and it was her pen collection video, which you guys should check out if you have a chance to. And basically, this one was the best deal at the time, and I purchased this probably about a year ago now. And the colors, I really actually enjoy the colors, and I do have to say the tip of the pen is 0.4 millimeters. So some of the other pens I talk about that are colored actually have a smaller tip. So I do like that about these pens. The color selection I have is obviously not the best. I bought mine on Amazon, and that, like I said, that was about a year ago, and it was hard to search them down because I think they are from, if not Switzerland, but they're from Europe, so it's not even a brand here in Canada, so that's why it's a bit harder to find. But recently, Michaels and possibly local craft stores, you'd have to check, but Michaels has them and you can buy them per each individual pen. And I think they have a larger tip available now as well. And I think it's the Stabilo .68, if I'm not mistaken. So I will just kind of insert the pictures while I'm talking. And then I'll get right back and you'll see me again. So the next pen I would like to talk about is the Staedtler Tri-Plus Fine Liner. So now these pens are always kind of a surprise to me because when I see them in my pen collection, I have my pens organized, and actually I do want to do a reorganization, and I'm not sure if I'll do it on a video because I'm not sure how I can set my phone up to tape that for you guys. I do want to kind of reorganize my pens so that all my brush pens are together and all my fine liners and highlighters, etc., etc. But these Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, I've had them forever. And so maybe not necessarily this pack because during school I used to use them a lot, so they would get, the tips would get pushed in. And I'm not even that hard on my fine liners. I do not have that heavy of a hand, so they don't last that long if you're using them all the time. The tip on the Staedtlers are 0.3 millimeters, and they actually have a really good color selection. So I do have a couple of the packs. I used to have only the small 12 pack, and I think the one I've shown you, I haven't counted the number of markers, but it's a pretty big pack. But I actually have like the hugest one you can buy in the huge tin. But the large pack I purchased for coloring because I did a lot of really fine detail work. So that was the reason behind it. and they are very easily accessible on Amazon. That's where I purchased them, but I believe you can get them from like your local Target or your even Walmart and any local craft store, and even Michael's as well. So, and then when I look at the colors, like when I'm holding them in my hand, I don't think that the color swatches would be very good, but then when I put it on paper, I'm always surprised that, and you guys, I've told you this before, I love rainbows. So when I put these pens down on paper, I do it in kind of a rainbow-ish order, and I just love the visual. It's just so nice, and I will insert that. And then moving on to my Tombow Twintones. Now these, I have to say, are like my favorite colors. I don't know what it is. They are all so bright. I like the fact that there are two sides to the marker, so you get a little bit of a thicker tip, and then you get the really thin, very thin, I should say, plastic tip. And the reason why I like them is because the very fine tip, it's not a felt tip, it's actually a plastic nib. It will not get run down as fast, especially if you are a little bit heavier on your fine liners. And the color selection and just the range is so nice. And now I know Tombow, they used to have the two packs. So one was pastel and one was, I don't want to say basic, but they were like the brights, I guess. And then the third pack they recently released was the rainbow pack. And so if you have all of the colors, they are just so vivid and so bright, and I love them. Like, they are amazing, and I will insert the pictures right now. And then the next pens I would like to talk about are my Sharpie art pens. So this pack I also purchased off of Amazon, and it is not the biggest pack in the world. And when I compare it to my, I guess I would have to compare it to my Statler's. I'd have to say it's probably the same pen tip width as the Statler's, or maybe even a little bit smaller. And again, the reason I got them was to go with the Statler Tri-Plus, just to do coloring and really fine detail work. And I thought that they would be something extra, something special, kind of the same reason why I would buy the Sharpie brush pen, even though it bleeds through the paper, which is why I'm not buying the Sharpie brush pen, just so y'all know. But I did buy those a long time ago as well, and I find it harder to find the ones in the black barrel. I have the ones in the silver barrel, which you'll only see the black ones, but I do have both. And at first I thought one of them was like would bleed through the paper and the other one wouldn't, but they both didn't really bleed through. So I'm not really sure what the difference is, but they have the same color selection, so it's not that big of a deal. And I will insert that now. And then the next pen that I would like to talk about are the Papermate Flares. So I'm not really sure if I'd call them a fine liner per se. And the reason why I don't use them in my bullet journal is because I find they have a really dark shadow on the next page. But the flares have a really good color selection as well. It just, you have to, I'm not sure if I found any packs that came like all in one pack. A lot of the different colors had to be bought in separate packs. So I found most of those on Amazon as well, but you can buy them from Walmart and Target, and they have a really nice color selection. So I think I have almost every color there is, and the only one that I have an issue with is my olive toned pen, where the little felt nib is pushed into the plastic tip, so it doesn't really write very nice. And you can't actually tell on the picture, which I'll insert now. You can't really tell there, but I probably wouldn't be able to use it for very long until it got fully pushed in. And I can't even use tweezers to pull it out because there's just not enough of the pen tip there to pull it out. So that kind of bites, but that's okay. For the rest of the pens and how much I actually use them, they were kind of for the same thing. But I really did, when I first started getting into bullet journaling, that's when I bought them, and I thought that I could use them in my bullet journal until I started finding all of these other awesome pen selections. To be completely honest, I actually ended up using just mostly a black fine liner in my bullet journal, and then used my like Tombows or my Marvy Le Plumes to like color it, or even my Crayola Super Tips. I would like to use fine liners more in my bullet journal just to kind of give it a bit more color, and even color coding would be kind of cool, and I haven't tried that yet. So the next pens that I would like to talk about are the Marvy Le Pen fine liners. So these ones I also purchased because I was watching the Amanda RachLee video on her Stationery Showdown, and she just had the black one, and she said that apparently over time it's not archival ink, so it will, like if you turn the page over and you see the shadow on the page, it'll actually turn green or yellow. So that's one thing I haven't noticed because I haven't really used it that much. But I did purchase the colored pack. I will insert that swatch now. And I have to say, like, it was hard to find online. I did purchase it on Amazon, and it was probably, I don't want to say it was the most expensive because it wasn't, but for the value of what you purchase to the price point, it was the most expensive, if that makes sense. And you can also purchase these from Michael's, and they're not even where the pens are, they're actually where the journaling supplies are, at least in my local Michael's, so it doesn't really make any sense. But, and I think there you can only purchase small packs, so you've got like your basic colors, your red, blue, green, and black, where I really like having all of the colors of the rainbow in my pens, just so I can have the selection. So moving on to one that probably most people haven't heard of or seen before, it's what's called an Aqatec Slim Magic pen. So I purchased this from a store in West Ed, and I don't even remember the name of the store, but it was brand new and they sell a lot of Japanese goods. So there was a lot of stationery, a lot of markers, and a lot of pens, but I didn't see the zebra mild liners in there, but that was like maybe 2 years ago that I purchased these. And honestly, I purchased them because of the colors, and they didn't even have accurate prices on them. I think each of these pens was $3, and by the time I realized it, the sales lady had already rung through my order and there was a huge lineup, so I didn't like put them back. And now I kind of regret it because I haven't even used them. So I mean, I'm pretty glad that there's only 2, 4, 6, 8 colors that I purchased. There was no yellow available, so I didn't bother getting that one, but they did have 2 sides, kind of like the Tombow Twintone, and one was kind of a larger tip, so it was actually bigger than the fine tip on the Tombow dual brush markers. But the slim side, so like the actual fine liner side, was a perfect size to be a fine liner, and I really liked it. And like the colors, maybe the color selection isn't very good, but the colors are really bright and vivid, and I really like the purple and the blues. Okay, so now moving on to my favorite fine liner of all time, my Sakura Pigma Microns. Now, I love these. I use these in every video to do with bullet journaling that I've made to date, and it will also be on my May plan with me. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys. So I'm going to insert the swatches now. And the first few that you'll see are actually all of the black ones. So I have every single size that they sell, the 005, which is the 0.2 mil, all the way to the 1 mil, which is the graphic marker, and I use that to color in large areas of black or anywhere black that you see in my bullet journal. I usually use that pen. And then all of the colored ones. So I did buy the pack that you'll see. It comes in like a little cute little carrying case, and it has all of the pretty colors. And I think when I purchased it, I did buy all of these pens on Amazon, and when I purchased the colored pack, it was super, super cheap. And then when I looked back a couple of weeks later, it jumped like double in price, which is like unbelievable. But I'm really glad I have the colors now because they are my favorite fine liners to use. I also have the PN microns, which means plastic nib. And I have the colors, and I have extra black ones as well because I enjoy using them. When I mentioned with the Tombow Twintone, the fine liner part had a plastic nib as well, and that just means that the fine liner will last a lot longer rather than the felt tip nib. I have my Copic multi-liners. So these ones, again, I purchased them from watching Amanda RachLee's fine liner video, and not that I regret buying these at all, because for any artwork or detail work, they come in very, very handy. I haven't had too much of a chance to use mine since I did get them around the same time as my Sakura Pigma Microns, and those, as you guys know, are my favorite. So the Copics, I've only used a handful of times, and mostly because they have a really good selection of grays. And I only have the cool tones, but you can also get the warm grays as well, and you can get them in every size. So I've got the 0.05 to the 0.5. And also, if you get the ones that have like the non-shiny aluminum barrel, they are SP version, which means they are refillable. So you can actually change the nib in these pens, and you can fill them with new ink. So once you buy the pen, as long as you get the ink refills and the little nibs, you're good to go, and they last you forever. So it's very similar to the Copic Sketch and the Copic Chows and the original Copic markers that I had a video on previously on my channel. That one is up for you guys to see. The brand Copic did a really good job with those refillable markers and fine liners because they'll last you forever, and it ends up being cheaper in the long run, especially if you use them all the time. So moving on to the very last page, I'm going to insert the page now. I've got 3 different fine liners on this page. Those are the Faber-Castell Pit Artist Pen. I only have the black ones of those, and they come in a pack of 4 actually. I have only shown 3 fine liners, and they're all black in the shade 199. So it's the small, the fine, and the medium point. And the 4th one is the brush marker. So I do want to save that for an actual brush video because I do have a couple of the other colors of the Artist Pit brush pen, and I want to keep those together. So these fine liners are really, really nice, but I do find the tip wears out quite quickly, especially on the small, like the S and the F size. But the medium, I don't use it as much because it's really, really thick, and I kind of like sticking to the 0.3 and sometimes the 0.5 in my bullet journal. So, and this kind of looks like maybe a 0.8 or maybe a 1, I'm not quite sure, but it looks pretty thick. The other ones I purchased were the Pilot V RazorPoint. I think I went to Nate. It's like a post-secondary institution here in Alberta, and I went there with somebody else who was attending school, and I can't even remember when, but this purchase was made like 5 or 6 years ago. And of course, me being a stationery addict and a stationery geek, I had to purchase these because I thought the colors were really cool and I loved fine liners. So I got the black, the purple, and the blue in the extra fine tip, and then the red in the fine tip. And those are really, really nice. And I mean, throughout the years, I've kind of gone through my pens and like given a whole bunch away and thrown some out that stopped working. But these ones have lasted through time, so they're worth keeping and worth mentioning. And then the very last one, which I'd actually like to try out the other colors, and I haven't had an opportunity to because I remember buying this one. It is the 0.5 in the purple, and it's the Prismacolor Premier Fine Line Marker. So as you guys know, I do have the Prismacolor Premier art markers, I've got the chisel tip and the fine tip version, and those are the alcohol-based markers. And this is a fine liner, so it's got the same qualities as the Sakura Pigma Micron. And I did forget to mention that both of these types of pens, so the Sakura Pigma Micron and the Prismacolor Premier Fine Line Marker, are both light fast, so they do not fade over time. They are archival ink. They do not smear with water, so you can get water on it and it will not run. And you are supposed to be able to color over them with water-based markers. So for instance, the Tombow dual brush pen, but you do have to wait for the ink to dry, because if you don't, the ink will still smear. As long as the ink is dry, it does not smear. So those are very, very good quality, so that is why I would like to try out the Prismacolor Premier. But I mean, I already have the Pigma Microns, so maybe once those wear out, I'll try the Prismacolor. But I did get purple because it is my favorite color. And I think I purchased that from a fine art store. I just purchased the one because all the other colors were sold out. And they're pretty pricey. They're almost $5 a marker at this store. So, and I haven't been able to find them at Michael's. But that sums up my extent of my Fineliner collection. And I know it was kind of a long video, and I'm sorry for that, you guys. It was like a 20-minute video just on Fineliners. But I just kind of wanted to show you the color selection. I wanted to kind of explain about the availability and where you can buy them. I always say you should price compare and you just price shop around. Like go to Michael's, go to Walmart, go to your local fine art store, check on Amazon. And there is another website that I'm interested in, but it is still a US website and you have to pay US dollars. So it's actually called Jet Pens, and you can get any pen that you'd ever be able to find on that website. And they've got new ones coming in all the time. And I have heard about it from other fellow YouTubers online that are into calligraphy and brush lettering and just kind of pens in general. And you can get like really cool packs, like you can get surprise packs and packs based on one color for like a variety of different pens and pen types. So that's kind of really, really cool. But it seems, and I don't want to say it's expensive because it's actually cheaper on there than sometimes on Amazon, but to me it's expensive because you still have to work in the US dollar exchange. So just kind of watch out for that. But I like comparing on Amazon. So usually what I do is I put a lot of things in my cart, and then each day you'll get a notification on there to say whether the price has gone up or down. So usually it's kind of a waiting game, and I just wait till I can find it at the lowest possible price and then I purchase it. But I would really suggest hunting down prices and trying to get the lowest price, because now everybody is trying to save $1 these days. So, but anyway, that is the video on Fineliners. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment. You can send me a message. My email is posted as well as my Instagram, and I will have these photos posted on my Instagram as well. And I'll leave the link to this video on my Instagram. Even though it's not a clickable link, you can still copy and paste into your browser and see this video from there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.